Welcome to bLU Talks.
Hello.
Hello, how's it going today, Claudia?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
I didn't realize this was live. I'm sorry I'm late.
Oh no, it's all good. We'll make it work. We have about 20-ish, 25 minutes, which is fine. That's
Awesome.
perfect. Podcasts these days, most of the interviews we're doing now are 15 to 20 anyway, because
That's perfect.
yeah,
Who needs to talk longer than 20 minutes anyway? I was listening to the very end of what that gentleman was saying, and I agree completely. That's how I became an actress. I knew when I was a little girl that I was going to be an actress and that I was going to be in movies and television and successful. I knew that when I was about 3, 4 years old, as soon as I could think and talk. So maybe 2, 3 years old. And my path in life went straight toward it. And I'm the only actress in my entire bloodline.
Wow. You don't hear that often. Usually it's like this Hollywood legacy that goes down generation and generation.
No, wow. My dad knows everything about our family, and he said I'm the only one. There's a lot of artists, painters, singers, PhD, doctors, professors, things like that. But I'm the only actual actress.
Amazing. Well, and I wanted to jump in right from the beginning and give people a little bit of context, because I want to ask you about being an actress and basically being almost like an entrepreneur, because I feel like you've become almost like an entrepreneurial actress just based on me doing a little bit of research. But most people would have known you at first. And I want to ask you if this is, in your opinion, if it's been good or bad, but because sometimes we get into a big role and we're known for that big role. And I'd love to get your take on that. But you were in a really big role that I think a lot of people would know you for, especially with we have the great comic conventions and Comic Cons and stuff. So I'm sure you get a lot of bookings based on that role.
A lot.
Okay, perfect. Well, can you tell us what that role is? I mean, I think people will probably know if they'll probably recognize you, and also with what you have in the background, they'll probably know, but I'll let you tell us.
Is it okay that my cat is here?
It's more than okay. Both of them are there now.
Goldie and Oreo is walking behind me.
Yeah, I have two cats too, and they are always in front. So.
I am a huge cheerleader for Back to the Future, and I played Jennifer Parker in the original Back to the Future. My friend Cliff in Hawaii actually painted this. And my pictures and everything are here. My housekeepers are here in the other room, so I came into my office. I am an entrepreneur and an actress, and I'm still acting every now and again when people find me. But my men's resale shop in Studio City is 30 years old in the same location. I opened it when I was 25.
Wow.
I love it as much. I dressed a man yesterday. It was his birthday, and I dressed him in a cashmere brioni blazer and a beautiful camel long double-breasted overcoat, and also a beautiful gray 3-piece suit that's brand new. He got all of that for $1,250. The blazer alone retailed for $7,000. Just the blazer. So what my store is a place where men can find comfort and safety and joy. And I dress them. I have very high-end clothing, and it's very discounted prices. He paid yesterday less than the men paid in tax for those clothes. And I really think that men have a feeling of power and control and esteem when they're wearing incredibly high-end clothing. A very high-end suit in the a very high-end suit in the back of the pants, there's a split. So when the men sit down, the pants open a little bit and they're comfortable. So if you're wearing a suit, a Brioni, an Armani, a Hermenegildo Zegna, something that feels like you're wearing pajamas, you're going to be far more comfortable with yourself than the man wearing something that feels like cardboard. And the only way to have those high-end clothing is to spend a fortune. And I think that's not fair. So I want every man to have the ability to wear super high-end clothing. I laugh. I tell everyone, all you have to do is walk in with your wallet. I do all the rest. I find the clothes for you. I can look at you, know what size you are. I show you how handsome and lovely you are. And I have new things all the time. And 30 years, I still love it absolutely as much as the very first day I opened. Oh, and I'm open only by appointment through ArmaniWells.com. So if you go to the store, I used to have fans from all over the world come, and that was fine because I was open to the public. But now, if you don't have an appointment that you've scheduled through ArmaniWells.com, the store won't be open.
Amazing.
It's helpful with COVID world, and also personally, it affords me the ability to travel around the world and do speaking gigs. And I've been a keynote speaker, and I have so many Comic-Cons scheduled and appearances. So it's a beautiful conglomeration of my world. So I'm my store. I'm Jennifer Parker from Back to the Future. I'm my church. I'm mom to my son and my kitty cats. And that's my life. Oh, and I write poetry.
Wow. Well, so it's amazing because you mentioned the speaking engagement side of things, and I'll tell you, I'm going to ask you a question very soon that I call the time machine question that I told you about via email. Well, how the idea came up is I was interviewing somebody who booked you for a speaking engagement, and he said, Corey, you should come and ask her the question while she's here on stage. And because of COVID, I couldn't travel to go to the event, but I'll tell you which event it was. It was the Secret Knock.
Oh my goodness, I'm going. Yes, it was so much fun. I'm still waiting on getting the email of the interview I did. That was one of the most fun events I've ever been to. And it's coming up again in March 21st, 22nd, and 23rd in San Diego. Everyone should really look it up and tell them I invited you, because you can't go unless you're invited.
I love it. So what made me think of it, two things. One, he was one that triggered the idea for me to reach out, but also the other side is what you just said about your store. It's kind of like invite only, really, because they have to reach out and make an appointment.
Absolutely.
And I think, and so the same thing with Secret Knock, there's no pricing on the page. You have to literally, you can apply on the page, but they have to still decide you're a good fit and invite you. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, what are your thoughts on this? Similar to your store now, I think it creates this, I want it more because I can't just walk in.
Yes, I agree with you. And I didn't do it for that purpose. That just seems to be a wonderful fringe benefit. And I've said to my guys, because once you walk into my store one time, that's it. You're going to be coming forever. And so I say to my guys, are you okay with not being able to just come when you want? So they can, my guys can text me. And I said, so you're cool with making appointments? And they all said yes. And they also said they prefer it because they have me all to themselves. And personally, it's safer for me, because I can keep an eye on people, because some people go into my store to gather things themselves. Yeah. Very rarely, but it happens. And when a man has an appointment to come into my store, he has a purpose. He is coming in for something. So it's a win-win experience for everyone.
I love it. Well, you're talking about, the quality. My girlfriend and I were in, in Florida at Brooks Brothers, and they were having a like once a year type thing that they do. It was at the outlet stores. And I bought this. I can't remember the brand. I'd be lying to say, because it's been a while since I even seen it. COVID has meant I haven't been wearing it as much because I'm a speaker normally and I haven't been speaking as much. But it was a cashmere jacket. I think it was around $2,000. And I got it for like $350, brand new. Point is, the feeling of that jacket, there's nothing like it. Like, it just feels like you said, like almost like I'm wearing, I don't know, like silk or something. It just feels different. And then you feel different because you feel more comfortable, but also you feel different because you know you're wearing this quality item. Like, I think it's actually a self-esteem thing that people ignore.
Oh, it's a huge self-esteem. You just described it perfectly. And men don't know it usually until they try something on. So if you try on a Super 170 Brioni suit that feels like silk, but it's not, it's finely woven wool. Once you have that on, you can't go back to Calvin Klein or one of the normal brands, Cerruti. You just can't. And that's one of the reasons why men are so loyal and come to my store, because you can't find that stuff anywhere else unless you spend a fortune. And I buy things from millionaires and billionaires, and a lot of it still has the price tags on it. It's brand spanking new. I buy from one of the finest men's resale shop, one of the finest men's non-resale shop in Beverly Hills. So when he has sales, I can go in and gather it all up and bring it to my store. So if men don't like resale, that's okay too.
So, and I want to ask you one last question about the store, and then I want to shift a little bit to the acting side. But on the store, you said where it was, but where's it located again? Just
It's in Studio City on Ventura Boulevard. It's
okay.
between Coldwater Canyon and Laurel Canyon on the south side of the street. It's across the street from Lemonade. It's
Okay.
basically considered the Beverly Hills of the Valley.
The reason I asked that is because my girlfriend and I are finally just starting to travel again. In fact, we're just getting our first trip away from the kids in about 2 weeks, and so when we head in that direction, I might reach out because I want to check out the store.
Oh, you must. I
Yes,
just got in Tom Ford, Louis Vuitton, Brunello Cucinelli. I just got in a black cashmere Tom Ford blazer. Those retail for $6,000. It's incredible. And I also think men don't get credit for how much they do and how much is put upon them in life. And I want a place where they can come and be catered to and treated in such a way that they know the level of what they deserve when they leave my store, because they've experienced it in my store.
And so I want to ask you, I mentioned this at the first, I teased it a bit, but being in such an iconic role, that people still like, I mean, I turn on the TV on a regular basis now and Back to the Future's playing. So being in such an iconic role, how do you view that now? And how did you view that then, in the sense that I always wonder, like, I think of like Rachel on Friends, and you view this iconic role. And so I wonder, is it sometimes a challenge, or do you just kind of go, I'm so grateful for that role?
I'm so grateful for it. It's like Al Pacino. He almost always plays the same kind of guy, except for when he did the ALS movie with Robin Williams or Dustin Hoffman. Not that I'm comparing my skills to them, but in terms of being pigeonholed for a role, it's an honor and it's a gratitude, and it affords me a huge part of my life, both in traveling and being able to easily bring joy to other people because they're so excited to meet Jennifer Parker, even though they're meeting Claudia Wells. I borrow Jennifer because everyone loves her. And I get the joy of being able to share my life with people all over the world through Facebook, through Instagram, through Twitter, through my fan website. And I feel like there's a huge worldwide family. Everyone loves Back to the Future. I have never met one person who didn't love Back to the Future. And it keeps on going. There's Back to the Future, the musical. My friend Jim texted me a picture holding a Jennifer Parker card from the Back to the Future game. I didn't even know there was one. So, and all these pictures, I mean, it's a financial benefit for me as well. I get paid to do all these things I do, and I don't have to pay a penny.
I love it. Well, and I thought that was the case just based on, again, my little bit of research. I thought that was the case, but I'm always curious because, you do hear some people say, well, I had this iconic role, and maybe there's a negative they see to it, like it's hard to get a different role or something like that. But I just was curious how it impacts.
That's a good question. And the other thing that's interesting, I've lived so much life since I've done that movie. So I'm actually a fuller human being. And when I go back to acting the way I envision it, which is rugged, deep, strong characters, it'll be like Jennifer Parker grew up. So
Wow.
It'll be such a dichotomy. I'm excited. I think it's all good. I mean, I'm going to Scotland on March 8th, and I'm going to Plano, Texas, March 17th, and I'm going to San Diego, March 21st. I mean, who wouldn't love that?
And that's, I mean, it's safe to say most of that is because of the Jennifer Parker role originally? Like, is that?
All of that is because of Jennifer Parker. All of that.
And I guess, again, we just have a few minutes
Oh,
left.
actually, you know what though? Also, here, I'll show you something that a friend made. Because sometimes people come to my table and they're like, why don't you have anything from Fast Times? Because I played Linda Barrett in Fast Times. Or why don't you have anything from Herbie the Love Bug? So now I do, but this would show like, it's so cool. He made it. So it's got,
Oh, wow.
that was me in Fast Times. I don't know if you can see it.
I can, yeah.
And then I was Julie and Herbie the Love Bug. So I'm starting to expand on Jennifer. Plus, I had a huge career of television prior to that.
Well, and it's funny. I just watched Fast Times again, and it's interesting because I didn't watch it like after we booked this to say, oh, I'm going to watch that role, but I recently watched it. I think it came on Netflix or something, and I'm like, I'm going to check. I haven't seen that in years, and so I mean, that's the other thing I would ask you: how cool is it to play multiple?
I love it. I
Like
used to be. They called me Pilot Queen because I got a pilot every year, and several of them went to 6 episodes. But I loved the ability to be totally different people. So I loved back then. When you're a guest star on a TV series, you're on for 45 minutes. Now you're a guest star and you got a line or two. So I had these most amazing deep roles on Fame and Simon and Simon and Strike Force with Robert Stack. And, I loved it. And then I did Off the Rack with Eileen Brennan and Ed Asner. And then I played Ed Asner's daughter in the movie of the week, Anatomy of an Illness. And I was with Martin Sheen. He did his directorial debut when I did Babies Having Babies. It's just, I love different roles. I love, I'm a chameleon.
And I think great actors probably most are, right? Like you have to be almost, right? But I mean, I think that's if you enjoy it, and if you enjoy, as you said, just being able to have those different roles and play those different people.
I love it. It's like recess. When you're at recess and you play house, I'll be mom. That's acting.
I love it. You have such a great attitude about it, and obviously, you can tell you're totally grateful around it, and that's so great to see that somebody that actually loves what they do and what they've done. So there's, as we said, 20 minutes is sometimes enough, but I feel like we barely scratched the surface. But I want to ask you, just as a closing question, very important, because you are an entrepreneur, you shared a lot about the store, but if people want to find out more, connect with you, whether they want to book time at the store, whether they want to just follow your career, where would you send them? Like, where is the hub? Or
that's such a lovely question. I really appreciate that. If you want to get pictures and you can't make it to a show, or you want to see my event schedule, which I hope is always updated, it's claudiawells.com. If you want to see my store, go to Yelp and look up Armani Wells. There's like 70 wonderful reviews and details. But if you would like to come into my store, you need to go to armaniwells.com. On media sites, I'm the one who does everything. It's all true. It's all real. It's all me. I don't filter pictures. Go to @the Claudia Wells on Facebook, not the personal accounts. I don't use those. @the Claudia Wells on Instagram and @the Claudia Wells on Twitter. And you may see pictures of my kitty cat sometimes. I bring you right into my life.
I love that. And I love that we got to meet your kitty cats today as well. Amazing. Well, Claudia Wells, this has been an absolute pleasure. With your permission, I'll call it a to be continued because I do feel we barely scratched the surface. But thank you so much. So appreciate you. And I love your amazing energy. I love that you love what you do. So
thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you. I appreciate the opportunity.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much, Claudia. Have a magical rest of the day.